Right, firstly, I'd like to really apologise for not uploading any videos. What's wrong with my throat? Firstly, I'd like to really apologise for not uploading any videos over the Christmas period. I have been home, obviously, because uni's not on over Christmas, and I left the charger for my camera here at uni, so I wasn't able to film any videos at all while I was at home, and for that I am very sorry. Actually, what should actually really have been the first thing, first thing, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, guys. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas and a wonderful New Year. We're actually in 2015 now, which is slightly ridiculous. We're closer to 2020 than we are to 2010. How scary is that? That's actually ridiculous. Anyway, time to get on with today's video. I'm doing another review video like I did with Gone Girl back a while ago. If you haven't seen my Gone Girl book and film review, I will link it down in the description below. But today we are focusing on The Theory of Everything, which is the new film about Stephen Hawking and his life. Now, just to set the tone on this review and my opinion of it, if Eddie Raymond, whatever his name is, doesn't win Best Actor at every single award ceremony, and the film doesn't win Best Film at every single award ceremony, then something has gone drastically wrong with the whole voting process or whatever, because it is that amazing. The acting of Eddie as Stephen is just incredible. It sounds really easy to, act disabled, but I've done drama and theatre studies myself, and as an able-bodied person, to realistically portray a particular disability in someone else is the hardest thing that you can possibly do. It's like Colin Firth in The King's Speech with his stutter. That is the most incredibly hard thing to be able to do and act successfully. And same with Eddie as Stephen. The physicality, the speech, absolutely everything, even facial expression and the movement of his mouth and everything is just so perfect to Stephen Hawking. I was just watching in awe. Stephen Hawking himself actually was quoted when he watched the film. He said at some points it was so good I actually thought Eddie was me. It was that good, and I can totally understand why. He's literally incredible as Stephen Hawking. Because when you're filming a film, you don't film it all in chronological order, you just film when the sets and the locations are available. Eddie was filming in one day, he might have to do 3 different scenes that would be from 3 different stages of Stephen's disability. So first thing in the morning he might be completely able-bodied, then in the middle of the day he might be full extent in the wheelchair, and then in the afternoon he would be on 1 crutch or 2 crutches. So to go from each stage in one day, it's not even like you can progress in your acting of the movement, you just have to have them all there like that to just do on command. So from that point of view alone, it is such an incredible film. The acting is just awe-inspiring, it's unbelievable. Then we get to the actual story itself, and even if you know nothing about Stephen Hawking or have no interest in him whatsoever, I mean, it does help if you have some form of interest or curiosity in Stephen Hawking, I suppose, to watch a film about his life. But just as a film on its own, even if it was fictional and not based on a real story, it's the most inspiring and heart-wrenching love story you could ever imagine. The things that Stephen and his wife and the whole family had to go through in the development of his disease is just incredible. So inspiring, but so upsetting, and you just don't understand how anyone could get through that and get through it as successfully as they have done. It's really nice to see a different side of Stephen Hawking, because especially people of my generation have only ever seen him in his disabled state that he is today, and he's obviously the most incredible man and a complete genius. Most people, myself included, up until not that long ago, I didn't realise that he ever actually had been able-bodied. So it was fascinating to kind of see him, in a way, in his able-bodied state, and to watch how a disease like motor neuron disease, which is what he has, how that progresses over time. When he was first diagnosed, he was given 2 years to live, and that was in 1970, the early 1970s that he was diagnosed with that, and he's still alive today, still living on the 2 years that he was given, and look at what he's achieved in that time. Another thing that I really love about the film, and that's quite often lacking from factual films or films based on a true story, and that's that it follows the real life, what actually happens, so closely. Obviously, there's a couple of bits that maybe they're not completely in chronological order, or they've missed a couple of bits out, because obviously this is 40 years of life squashed into a 2-hour film. But everything that does happen is almost entirely true and very truthful to reality, which is so nice to be able to see firsthand everything that happens. You know, not everyone is painted in a perfect light 100% of the time. You see people in their down points and you see people's faults in the film. It's not made to make everyone look perfect. You see reality, what human beings are really like, and especially in a stressful situation like dealing with an illness or a disability like motor neuron. I've completely forgot my point. With a disability like Stephen's, relationships are just going to be so much more stretched than they are in everyday life anyway. So it's really nice to kind of see realism in the film, and you know, it's very, very true to real life. Since watching the film, I've read the story of Stephen's life briefly online on different things I can find to sort of compare the film to what actually happened, and it does stay very truthful, which I think is really good in a film like that. It is incredibly emotional, the whole thing, all the way through, very understandably with, you know, the topics that they're dealing with. You know, it is kind of the breakdown of their relationship. I won't say any more than that because it will spoil the film, but it is the breakdown of relationships and the strains and stresses of relationships in everyday life, dealing with bad news in the form of the disability, and then the reality of coping with that every single day. There are so many points when it gets so emotional. Some of the people that I went to go see it with were crying from halfway through. I held it together right until the very, very, very end, the last scene, when it's a really, really sweet scene between Stephen and his wife, and they're watching their children just playing in the gardens, basically. And Stephen says something like, "Look, the amazing things that we've created," or something like that. After all of the incredible discoveries and scientific breakthroughs that he's come up with, and you kind of forget all that for a minute, and you're just like, they're just a normal family with 3 kids, and it's really, really sweet. And that bit just made me break down and I started crying. Literally within 2 minutes of ending, I started crying. I was like, oh, it's so typical to cry now. It is just the most fantastic film. It's such an inspiring film to see someone who's had so much, you know, bad luck in life to be so successful and so motivated. Stephen Hawking is still working today. He's still writing books and coming up with new ideas and theories and trying to prove everything that he's ever thought of or envisioned. He's just such an inspiring person. There's a quote that Stephen Hawking, the actual Stephen Hawking, has said in the past, and that Eddie said very near the end of the film, which I've got here, and it's, "However bad life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. While there's life, there is hope," which I think is the most incredible thing to say, really. Someone like him who could so easily and very understandably give up, but he's also saying there's always something you can do, no matter how unprivileged or disadvantaged you are. There's always something that you can be successful at and always something you can do. And I think that's such a fantastic mental attitude to have, no matter how awful things seem or how incapable you feel that you are. You can always still do something. There's always something that you either are good at or you could be good at, something that you can succeed at and something that you can be successful in. And I think that's such a fantastic thing to remember and to think of, to sort of help motivate yourself. So the bottom line is, it is the most incredible film. It's such an inspirational thing to watch. You will come away and just be completely in awe of what you've just seen. And it's an incredible love story, and it's got incredible tragedy in it, and it's acted ridiculously well. The filming of it is fantastic. It's all set in sort of the 60s, 70s kind of time. And it's so true to the time, and it looks fantastic. They've done it so well. Every aspect about it is just fantastic. The music is wonderful. If you hadn't guessed, I really like this film. And I could not recommend more to go and watch it. I truly, truly believe that it is going to be so successful at all of the award ceremonies, and I really, really think you should go and watch it. So I hope this review has been slightly helpful. I would say slightly biased, but I can't even think of any negative things to say though. Normally I am quite objective and would be like, that's great, however, that not so much. But no, I really can't think of anything that I would have changed about the film, anything more that I would wanted in it. It really is that fantastic. So please go and watch it. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video because it helps me out so much and helps me raise extra money for comic relief, which is what this whole thing is actually for. And other than that, thank you very much for watching and I shall see you next time. Bye guys!